Hey guys, it's Bob Carroll. I'm going to talk a little bit about comping today. You probably watched my previous video on the basic jazz pattern, and now we need to get a little more advanced. So once you master the basic jazz pattern, we start to comp. Now what does comp mean? Well, it stands for complement, and not the compliment as in, gee, you look nice today, but the complement where we have two or more things and they have different qualities that go well together. It's spelled C-O-M-P-L-E-M-E-N-T. So, why do we comp and who comps? Well, jazz, in my opinion, is very much a soloist genre. There's a lot of solos taken in jazz, and you have, the basic chord pattern and basic head of the song, and then a lot of people take solos over that. Now, it's not always that way, but in my experience, it's been that way. There's at least one solo in every jazz song, or most jazz songs. So, the non-soloing instruments, basically the rhythm section, they comp for the soloist. Now, the bass basically just walks, and he does some fills. He does a little bit of comping, but not as active as the drummer and the guitarist or piano or whoever else is going to comp with us. So, what do? Well, there's a few types of comping. We can the comping instruments can either come together and play behind the soloist, like some patterns from the head, or maybe some of the chord change patterns, like in rhythm form for us, obviously. Or we can interact directly with the soloist, depending on what they're playing. If they leave a space, sometimes we like to fill in that space. So we complement with the snare, and sometimes the snare and bass. When the bass is not complementing, the bass drum, not the bass player, the bass drum is not complementing, it stays in 4 on the floor, like our pattern that we did last time. So I'll give you a few examples of comping with the snare and then comping with the bass. Not too complicated, just so you guys can follow along. And start off slow. You can even look up different comping patterns online or in certain jazz books, and you want to practice these because you're going to be doing 4 different things at once, and most of us have trouble doing more than 2 things at once. So here's some examples. So there's some examples. You can try and listen to me and copy what I'm doing, but I advise you to try doing your own and try to get creative. Start off with only a few notes, and then you can add notes as you go. Start off with the basic quarter notes and eighth notes, and then you can add some triplets. My favorite is a triplet pattern where you do the bass on the first note and the 2 snare hits on the second 2 notes of the triplet. So it goes bass, snare, snare, bass, snare, snare, and you can work it up pretty fast. So that's cool, and it kind of sounds almost like a one-handed roll. Buddy Rich did that a lot. And so those are some examples. You can also comp with the ride by changing the pattern. I changed the pattern a little bit during the beginning. But for the beginners out there, stick with just the basic ride pattern so you get that down and in your head. And just change the snare. But once you get more used to it, then you can start, maybe it's a piano solo and you don't want to comp a lot with the snare because it's too loud. Well, you can comp with the ride by changing the pattern. So there you go. You can also, very popular, comping with the hi-hat during a bass solo. So you do the basic, pattern on the ride, just on the hi-hat. And some people like to grab it with their left hand. basically the bass is a low instrument and you kind of want like a dry sound so you don't ring over the bass and overpower the bass. So that's why a lot of people go to the hi-hat. You can get creative though. Why don't you try, the rim? You can even kind of try the stands, if you will, or the sides of the drums. Obviously, I don't have my full setup right now, just my like mini jazz setup for this video, but get creative with it. Do what you feel sounds good. So, if you want more lessons like this, go to my Ashbury Music Hall webpage. I'll post a link and one free lesson. Evaluate you if you want evaluation on jazz or rock or funk or just rudimentary stuff. Go over, take a free lesson, see how it is. If you like it, you can buy more. If you don't, then you got a free lesson. So I'll see you there. Have a great day.